Hi guys, long story short, OpenAI developers Dev Day. We have some important announcements on 1st of October and there are four major announcements, but instead of me reciting the whole thing and trying to explain what each of these means, why not let Google's NotebookLM do the job? So what I've done is I went ahead to NotebookLM, added the sources here. So all the 4 pages of here, for example, Introduction to Real-Time API, what I did was Control P and just saved it as a PDF file here. So 4 of PDF files for each of the announcements here. I've uploaded those to here. And once I've uploaded those, I have asked it to make an audio conversation between 2 robots here. So let's listen to this conversation, and it's pretty good. I've listened to this once, and now it's your turn to listen to it and give feedback to what do you think the future is. Now, video creation and content creation is so easy and automatic that I feel like I will be excluded in the near future. But anyways, let's listen to this conversation, and I will get back to you after this conversation ends. In the meantime, what I can do is that I can go ahead while I'm listening, go ahead to different topics that I've been studying. For example, this continued pre-training that I've been trying to use in the Unsloth, and other kinds of checking of mails and household activities. I can do that, and in the meantime you can have a listen to this audio and imagine the potential of AI and how we can use that to create amazing content. But this is not for the purpose of content per se. This is actually for understanding what these 4 means to us. And let's go and have a listen.
All right, so get this. A world where Duolingo sounds less like, Duolingo, and more like you've got an actual human language partner. Or where your smart assistant can actually see what you're looking at when you ask it a question. Oh, and building your own superpowered AI doesn't require, selling your house and all your internal organs. Sounds kind of far-fetched, right? Well, hold on to your hats, folks, because OpenAI just dropped some major hints that this future we're talking about, it might be a lot closer than any of us thought. I mean, they just dumped a whole mountain of new developable tools and features, and we are here to dive right in.
And it's not just like, a few minor tweaks and upgrades. The sheer volume of stuff they announced, it's kind of overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah.
But under all of that, there's this message, this big, almost radical idea. They are giving away the keys to the kingdom, handing over the controls to some seriously powerful AI directly to developers.
So it's less like, here's our prepackaged AI assistant, take it or leave it, and more like OpenAI just went full open source. Like, here's everything, go build something amazing.
You got it, exactly. It's like they set up this massive buffet table of AI power tools and said, all right, developers, go wild, show us what you've got.
Right.
And you know what that means, right? It means we could be right on the cusp of just this massive explosion of creativity and innovation in the AI space.
Mm-hmm. Especially if it's not just, the Googles and Metas of the world who can actually afford to play around with this stuff. This feels different, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, think about it. Until now, if you wanted to build something truly next level with AI, it was kind of like, I don't know, like trying to build a rocket ship in your garage, possible maybe. But you better be ready to spend an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
OpenAI is changing all of that, and that has the potential to disrupt, maybe even completely upend industries we haven't even thought of yet.
Okay, so let's talk about the potential AI apocalypse, more talk about the actual features, because I gotta be honest, some of these announcements went way over my head.
Yeah.
Let's start with something I think we can all relate to, okay? Those robotic voices, you know what I'm talking about. They just plague our digital lives. You're trying to have a conversation with Siri or Alexa or whatever, and it feels about as natural as talking to a brick wall.
Oh, tell me about it. It's 2024 for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And we're still dealing with AI that sounds like it walks straight out of a bad 80s movie.
Right. So, okay. In this giant info dump of theirs, OpenAI unveiled this real-time API.
Yeah.
Is this it? Is this the magic bullet that finally sends those robotic voices to the digital graveyard where they belong?
Okay, first of all, I like how you think. And yeah, you are definitely onto something. This real-time API, it's all about making AI conversations, actually feel like conversations. Remember how clunky it used to be? Like each sentence was basically a separate text message with a 5-minute delay.
Oh, don't even remind me. I once tried to have this whole deep philosophical conversation with a chatbot. It took us like 3 hours to get past the first existential question.
Yeah, well, say goodbye to those days, my friend. The real-time API, it lets developers essentially plug their apps directly into GPT-4o. It's like the VIP lounge of OpenAI's language models. We're talking streaming audio both ways, no more of that awkward silence and delay, just natural flowing back and forth like you'd have with a real person, or as close as it gets anyway.
So what you're telling me is that my lifelong dream of having like a witty conversation with my AI assistant over a cup of coffee in the morning, it might actually happen.
Hey, you never know. And the thing is, think about the possibilities beyond, just witty banter. Imagine language learning apps where you can actually practice, your Spanish or Mandarin with a virtual tutor who actually responds in real time. Or think about customer service lines that don't make you want to rip your hair out. No more navigating those endless phone trees from hell.
Okay, you've sold me. Sign me up for the AI language tutor and the painless customer service. I'm there. But let's move on because the next thing OpenAI dropped, well, this one feels like we're stepping straight into like a Minority Report movie. They're giving AI the gift of sight.
Now, that is a pretty good way to put it. It's true, though. This whole introducing vision to fine-tuning API thing, it's a game changer. It's one thing to have an AI that can, read and write like a champ. But to actually understand images, that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so walk me through this. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. We're taking GPT-4o, which is already like this language whiz kid, and we're basically giving it eyes now.
That's the gist of it, yeah.
So instead of just text, we can show it pictures, diagrams, like even my cat photos.
Exactly. And here's the really wild part. It's not just about recognizing objects in those images, like, oh, there's a cat, there's a tree. It's about understanding the relationships between those things, their context, even the emotions they convey.
Okay, so let me see if I've got this straight. If I show this AI a picture of, say, a busy intersection in New York City, it wouldn't just spit out, okay, I see cars, people, buildings. It could tell me, like, how fast the traffic is moving. Or if people are waiting to cross the street at the crosswalk, maybe even what the overall vibe is like based on people's facial expressions.
You're getting it.
Yeah.
OpenAI talks about how Grab, the ride-sharing company, is already using this. They trained their AI on all these street-level images, and the AI started picking up on things like traffic signs, lane markings, even like construction work that might slow down traffic.
And that makes their navigation systems way more accurate.
Way more. But it gets even wilder. Think about it. Imagine showing this AI a screenshot of a website or an app. It can actually learn to understand what all those buttons, menus, and icons actually do just by looking at them.
Hold on a second. Are you saying that instead of programmers having to write thousands of lines of code to tell a computer program how to use another computer program, we can just like show it a picture?
Welcome to the future of software development. There's this company, Automat. They build those bots that automate tasks. They said their bot's success rate went through the roof, like something crazy, like a 270% improvement just from using this visual training.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This is all so incredibly cool, but let's be real for a second, all right? Isn't training AI to be this smart, this capable, incredibly expensive? We're talking like supercomputer levels of processing power, right?
That's the catch, right? The catch-22 with all this amazing AI tech. It often requires seriously deep pockets to use it. But that's where the next two announcements come in. They're a little less flashy, maybe, but they're all about making AI more accessible and affordable for everyone, not just the big players.
All right, then, let's talk about cost-cutting measures. What does OpenAI have up their sleeve? All right, then, let's talk about cost-cutting measures. What does OpenAI have up their sleeve?
Get ready for some seriously clever engineering, because these solutions, they're less about, flashy features and more about elegant efficiency. The first one, it's called model distillation. Okay, so imagine you're trying to, recreate a Michelin star chef's best dish.
Okay, I'm following you.
Like, you could try to perfectly replicate every single step, every ingredient. But let's be real.
That takes incredible skill and probably a whole bunch of crazy expensive ingredients.
Or you could be a little smarter about it, right? learn the core techniques, maybe swap out a few of those pricey ingredients for more, budget-friendly options, and you still end up with something delicious, something that captures the essence of the original.
You see, you get it. That's exactly what model distillation does for AI. It takes this giant, powerful AI model, a Michelin star chef, and it uses its knowledge to train a smaller, more efficient model, our home cook, with a knack for replicating flavors.
So the smaller AI model, it learns from the best, but doesn't need as much computing power to run.
You got it. It's like having, I don't know, a sous chef who's trained with the master but doesn't, command the same salary. This makes cutting-edge AI accessible to, like, startups, smaller companies, maybe even just independent developers with a killer idea.
That's huge. It really levels the playing field for AI development. Okay, so model distillation, I'm with you. But what about this prompt caching thing? That one still sounds a bit like, a secret code word to me.
All right, let's bring it down to earth with another analogy. How's that? So remember when you discovered your new favorite coffee shop and you kept going back every single day for the same order?
Oh, absolutely. I practically had my order memorized. I swear, I think the barista started making it before I even reached the counter.
Exactly. And I bet they loved that, right?
Yes.
That you were making their life just a little bit easier. Well, prompt caching, it's kind of like that. OpenAI realized that a lot of developers, they use the same prompts, those instructions we give to the AI, over and over again.
So instead of making the AI process the same request every single time from scratch, they're basically saying, hey, we've seen this before. Let's save everyone some time and effort.
You got it. It's like a mental shortcut.
Yeah.
It saves processing power, speeds things up, and in the end, it makes using the OpenAI API more affordable. It's a win-win, really.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. We've covered a lot of ground today. AI that can, actually hold a conversation. AI that can understand images. And now, AI that's becoming more affordable and accessible, which is huge. So help me out here. What does it all mean? If we zoom out, look at the big picture, what story is OpenAI telling us about the future with all of this?
I think the message is pretty clear. The future of AI is here right now.
Yeah.
And it's not just for, tech giants or those top secret research labs anymore. It's about to become part of our everyday lives. And honestly, we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
I think the message is pretty clear. The future of AI is here right now.
And it's not just for, tech giants or those top secret research labs anymore. It's about to become part of our everyday lives.
And honestly, we're just scratching the surface of what's possible, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, what makes all this so exciting, maybe a little bit terrifying, too, depending on how you look at it. But the potential here is just massive.
Okay, so last question before we wrap things up, because I think this gets to the heart of what OpenAI seems to be doing. With all these new features, all these price cuts, they're basically sending a message to anyone who wants to build something with AI, right?
Saying, come on in, the water's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So what happens next? What happens when all these developers, all these creative minds get their hands on these incredibly powerful AI tools?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. And unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball, but here's what I do know.
We are about to witness an explosion of new AI-powered apps, services, you name it, things we haven't even dreamed of yet.
It's like, remember when the iPhone first came out and suddenly there was an app for everything?
Yeah.
Well, imagine that, but on a much grander scale. And the implications for, pretty much every industry are huge.
Absolutely. And this is where things get, I think, really interesting and potentially a little, scary too.
Okay, so before we unleash a whole new wave of AI anxiety onto our listeners, how about we leave everyone with a little bit of homework, a final thought to ponder?
Like, yeah.
So here it is. All right. As these AI tools become more powerful, more accessible, think about this. What is it that makes us, us? What are those uniquely human qualities that AI, no matter how advanced it gets, might never be able to replicate? That's something to think about. That's it for today's deep dive, everyone. Thanks for joining us as we went down the rabbit hole of OpenAI's latest move. Until next time, keep exploring, keep innovating, and most importantly, keep asking those big, important questions.
So in the next video, how did you like it? Amazing, isn't it? If you're interested in fine-tuning your own models, creating your own dataset for the fine-tuning process, you can watch out the next set of videos here. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. I will see you next time.